Hey guys, it's Jeff from Home RenoVision. Today we are here in the kitchen in our trailer project. And again, if you're not following along with the series, we're doing a double wide trailer from start to finish, inside and out. In this kitchen series today, we're taking our brand new doors that we sprayed and painted, and we're gonna install them on the cabinets. Now, there's different kinds of cabinets out there. This is called face frame, okay? Your face is in front, and so our hinges get attached to the face. The other kind of cabinet is more like a box, and it's more like a gable end, and those hinges attached on the side, and that's a much more modern look, right? You'll see that in all kinds of kitchen and bathroom vanities and cabinets nowadays. These are tricky because they're old, they're made of wood, and they've weathered the time pretty good. They're in decent shape, but they're not all exactly the same height, okay? So it's kind of customized installation that we're dealing with here. So I don't have the luxury of just measuring down to a hole, doing all the doors the same, and then installing the doors. Because in my wisdom, tell me if you would do this differently. I decided to leave all these locations because I'm using exactly the same style and size of hinge, just a different metal. And like, the other kitchen looked great. So if I put all the hinges in the same spot, this kitchen will look great. That's the way I'm thinking through my process. But what I didn't realize was that I'm running into inherently a couple different challenges because they didn't all have the same gap. If they were all like 2 inches from the top, I could put all the hinges on the doors, lift them over and just face screw them in. Everything would be fine, but that's not the way it works. And this cabinet also has a bit of a uptake right here. So in my situation, I think it's best to install one door at a time. I'm developing a special jig so that I can get them all exactly the same height. We're going to go through the process now. And the process is simple. These doors are exactly 30 inches. And when I take a look at the totality of my frame, top to bottom, I'm 31.5, okay? Which means for me to have it all perfect, especially with different heights, I've got to maintain exactly the same gap from the top of this board to the top of my door, all around the kitchen. So we're gonna go with a 3/4 inch gap from the top. What that means is I have a 3/4 inch gap down here as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure down 3/4. Put a little bit of a tiny little mark that I can erase with the eraser later. I am grabbing a piece of 1x4 that is nice and flat, okay? What I'm going to do is take my nail gun and I'm going to use 2 brad nails. So I'm establishing a perfect line at 3/4 of an inch. Here we go. And these couple of holes are really just there so that I have something to set the door on while I'm making my measurements. Because the way we're gonna work today is we're gonna install the hinges first and then set up the door. So let's get in it. Here's my hinges, 10-pack, Home Depot special, yay. It's nice to have things convenient. And it comes with a whole bag of screws. And might I say, these are tiny screws too. So, that'll be perfect. There, I'm gonna get a little dish lined up to put my screws in so that I can manage everything without losing them. And I'm gonna be using a drill with a magnetic tip so that I can put my screws on without any difficulty. Okay? So here's my hinge. That was a nice grab there. Okay, there we go. Number 1. And number 2. Okay, that's simple, right? Now, we're gonna open this up a little bit. That's right. Okay. So here's my door. Here's the door open. Okay, and it sits right in there. So we'll pretend we're inside the cabinet. That's how that attaches. Okay, screw through the back side, and that screws through the frame side. Because there's 3 holes, we just push right up against it, nice and tight. We're gonna get this cabinet door right down onto that wood. And as long as we do the same process with every door, we'll get all the tops of these doors at the right height. Here's a secret for when I'm doing this to help make sure that your hinges are nice and tight. when you're marking, okay, to help keep everything straight, you're making a small dot, okay? See, small dot, big hole. The screw head sits in that hole. So when you make your hole, if you make the hole to the front of this, the top of this, and the bottom of this one, and you pre-drill your holes, then when you put your screw in, you're pushing the screw head and the metal in 3 different directions, and it helps maintain perfect. If you try to hit the middle all the time, okay, if one of these is off just a little bit, you're gonna end up all crooked. So, it's better to attach the screw and let the head bend a little bit, or create pressure or compression in the wood. And then you're gonna be fine no matter what. And because these are really tiny, and the wood is 3/4 inch, I'm gonna take some blue tape. I'm gonna tape my drill bit and make a little wing for it. I'm gonna use this here. The goal is to make sure that I'm not drilling too deep, okay? So now when I'm drilling, when the tape hits the wood, I know I've gone plenty deep enough. All right? And pre-drilling is necessary, guys, because remember, this is hardwood doors. This is maple. And if you don't pre-drill, you're going to run into all kinds of pain. Okay, so here's the tiny little screw that we're using. And I'm not pre-drilling as deep as the entirety of the screw. I want to make the screw do a little bit of the work, okay? And the thickness of that hole should be less than the thickness of the screw, so it gets good bite. Okay, there we go. So it's just a combination of drilling almost deep enough and a smaller hole than what we actually need. That forces the wood screw to do something here. Otherwise it'll be too loose and it won't last the test of time. We got our height. We're all good to go. First thing we're going to do is get a couple of screws in here while our door is sitting on this wood. Okay, door number 1's in, all right? And you'll see we have an overlay system, so it covers on both sides of the door. And that is what we're going for. Here is the next door. That is gonna be the front. I picked up a box of toothpicks, guys, because we have pre-drilled holes, all right? And just to make sure that all my screws have got good compression, it doesn't hurt to break off the old toothpick inside the hole. Toothpick a la hole. There we go. What that does is just it gets rid of that space. So now the screw has to burrow itself into that hole, and it creates good compression for us. All right, here we go. Okay, whew. That step is done. Now let's get our door. Let's get our holes marked. And then we pre-drill. Installing, now that we've marked it, let's install the hinges on a nice flat surface. We'll see if this makes any difference to the process. Let's see if that makes it a little bit easier up here. Okay. I am already loving this a lot more. I think with the magnetic bit, I'll be able to reach in behind this corner and grab these hinge locations just fine. Okay. Beautiful. All right. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Only 17 more to go. Okay. Well, that's it for the first 4. Come on, honey. Should just roll right off. There we go. All right. Oh no, you don't want to do that. So when I cut those nails off, can't pull them out because this is pretty hard wood too. So I'm going to just set a number 2 Robertson drill bit over top of it. Use it like a nail punch. Wow. There we go. Now, yes, I'm going to have to do a little bit of a fill and then a touch up on the paint. Sometimes all it takes is a hammer, and anything can be used as a hammer. Well, that one's going to be a little tougher in the corner here. Okay, good. All right. Now, in order to keep my universe happy, I am going to do this. Yeah, right here. And then one right here. All right. That board is going to give me the restriction at the height that I need. Now, in these hardware packages, they give you 2 different bags of screws. Represent the different screw sizes. They also give you the peel and stick felt pad for the doors. We'll get to that later. But I found over the years, just grabbing an old roll of masking tape on a flat surface, it's a great way to corral everything. So here we go, okay? Keeps you from losing your stuff. Next stop, of course, these funny little tabs, right? Let's see, right in the very corners, it's where they're going to make contact. All right, so here's our little felt pads. They come with a 2-sided adhesive on the back. Our job is to peel away that adhesive. Okay, here we are, right in the corner, okay? Top and bottom. And this is all about making it sound nice. These are not soft closed drawers. They're going to be a hard closed drawer. So it's this or this. Ah, it sounded pretty much the same, didn't it? Oh, there we go. Now, not all framing and doors are perfect. Turns out this particular door is making contact in the middle. And in that case, might I suggest you put one in the middle, and that'll help. Right? Let's try that again. It still makes noise, but it's not as bad. More doors, okay. All right, guys, we got 12 more doors in the kitchen, but in this video, I'm only gonna do the next couple of stages. I'm gonna do the door down here, and I'm gonna do these drawers. Remember, these are the drawers that we had to rebuild from scratch. Let me just show you. There's the original drawer. Here's the original frame, original hardware. I made a new face frame for it, okay? So, in order to install these, we've got to do a little bit of math. Check this out. Let's say our goal is to get the top and the bottom to look perfect, okay? Then there are 2 inches between each of these door faces. Make sense? The problem is when it comes down here, I need this to close at the bottom and the top. And look at, there's not a lot of mercy here. Okay, that is not a lot of gappage. And so instead of doing that, which is going to have me start up here so you can see a gap, and then I'll finish down here, you probably see a gap. It makes it a little messy. What I'm going to do is I'm going to install it on the drawer with just 1/4 of an inch overhang on the bottom, below the drawer, for every one of these, and where they lie, they lie. We got to work with the whole, not with the totality of the space in this situation. So I came up with this concept. When you're on a job site, you can always find something that's 1/4 of an inch thick. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, 1/4 inch. Now, this is my drawer. This is my face, and I want this drawer face to go 1/4 inch below that rail. Okay. So what I do is I'm going to set this on here, and then I'm just going to set this on the counter. Boom, I'm going to get it perfect every time. Okay, and then all I got to do is screw from the back side and connect my handle. Nice and simple. All right, now let's set up to do this. You'll notice that the drawer faces that I'm dealing with, they've got that hollow middle. It's not very convenient for me. I also don't have a lot of room to screw to the door face, so I'm going to be going right off the very side. Okay, so yeah, so before I get started, I'm just going to pre-drill a hole off the counter near the top where I'm going to set my screw. Now, that's half the work. Here, that's the face. Okay, so once again, get my clamp ready. Measure off to 18 millimeters. Perfect. Now you'll see this type of screw. This is kind of like a cabinet screw that has a built-in washer. So that's phenomenal. It's a wood screw, and we don't need to pre-drill into the door for this one. Just got to give it some resistance. And that washer head keeps it from driving through the face. Okay, perfect. Done and done. We have a drawer face. Now we're going to build this from the bottom up. There, it's going to be perfect. Whew. Okay, so before we go any further, 18 mils is my number. Okay. Here. So for everybody at home who doesn't want to have a surface mounted hinge, you want to have the hidden hinge. And this is a decision you need to make in the very beginning of your remodeling process, okay? Because leaving the holes left me a template. If you want to get rid of that, I'll show you this. I went and picked these up. These are brand new on the market, and this is a hidden hinge, okay, for a face frame type of a door. So you can see I got 1/2 inch material here. So this is the typical kind of hinge reset that you go in a door. And basically what we do is we get a Forstner bit, we drill the hole to a certain, and Forstner is a flat bottom hole bit, okay? And you make it to the point where you draw that little circle, and then you screw these screws in, and then you bring your door over, and you would actually attach it like this, right here, that little space. Okay, the problem with this is this material is not very strong. So what I would recommend, if you're going to do that, grab yourself some 1x2s when you get started, measure to cut, glue, screw them together, okay? And then while you're repairing your screw holes, get something like a product like plastic wood, sand off the surface of all of these existing holes, fill them all with plastic wood, screw holes, old hinge holes, prep your surface, sand it smooth, be ready, then you can do your painting. And then when you're done, you can attach your hinges to your door, okay, anywhere you like. And then you can follow this process, because what we're going to do is we're going to actually take a piece of this material, clamp it to the counter, so we have a positive stop, so we can lift our door into place and then screw it in. All right, so let's just start with the biggest cabinet I've got on the base here. We're going to do the cabinet system now. So here we go. We're going to measure 33 actual inches. Wow. And we don't need to be that tight. We'll be a little more merciful. So that's 33. I'm going to take about a half inch. All right. And we're going to take that and we are going to screw that on, because we want to be able to show you the difference in the kind of damage that a screw makes versus a nail. Okay, not everybody's got compressor tools handy, and you don't need them if you're going to paint your kitchen. All right, here we go. You can always brush and roll this stuff. Now I'm picked a piece of scrap 1.5 inch material. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to just install it straight into the frame. I'm going to just go in reverse first, okay, somewhere out of... Okay, we're going to get it nice and attached here. Hopefully without splitting it, but yeah, it happens. Now I've got a positive stop. I've got exactly 1.5 inches, and I'm going to be able to cut this board to fit every little scenario that I run into, so that I always have a 1.5 inch gap to the top of my door. We're going to follow the same procedure, install the hinges, mark all the doors, blah, 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 blah. This one moves an awful lot. I'm going to have to attach that to the countertop later. But you get an idea. Having a positive stop when you're working this way solves all your problems and keeps everything consistent. Here we go. This is a much better angle, guys. You're going to be able to see this. I got a toothpick. The hole's kind of filled with paint. I'm just going to break that off. Okay? Because at the end of the day, having something that lasts 20 years or 20 days this is a real issue. When you've got a cabinet door swinging, that hinge is under constant pressure. And if the screw thread isn't burned really deep in with good compression, it can just continue to bore out a hole and tear itself right off. And what's the point of doing something that's not going to last 20 years? Or 50 for that matter. Like, anyway, here we go. And might I just say while I'm busy here, one of the things that we offer on our channel is a membership program, and it is really designed to help you guys to fill your learning gaps. You can watch a lot of videos, and they may not be specific enough to your home, your project, your geography, the age, the building science, the building materials. I've got a lot more experience in the trades than what you see in the videos, because I've been working this stuff for 35 years. So if you want help and you want to be able to do things with confidence and do them right the first time, then consider joining the membership. What you do is just take a look on your computer screen or your phone, hit the join button, okay? And for $5 a month, you do a little sign up. You can become part of our team. We're going to be able to have you join us on our Discord page. That'll be amazing, because then you can connect with a bunch of thousands of other DIYers all around the country who've experienced situations that you're going through, and you can glean from them and their experiences that they've had, get information about different products that are available to you. If you have questions, you can ask me directly in the forum, all right? And I'll be able to help you out. At the end of the day, it's not my goal for you guys to watch a video. It's my goal to teach you how to do this yourself so that you can earn equity in your home, become financially independent. The world is a crazy place. And if we could all just find a way to take our spare time and turn it into a way to make money, we would all be so much better off. Now, here we go. We got our template set up. We're marking our presets again. We will pre-drill and start hanging. There we go. Okay, This is really interesting. So now we're going to tackle this problem together. It's significant because I can fix these hinges by manipulating them, but I need to drill new holes. This is the corner, the cabinet that was kind of falling apart, that we had to rebuild. So not a big surprise that structurally it's not sound. So what we're going to do is take the toothpicks in the existing holes, fill them up, and then we're going to manipulate those hinges till this gap is closed, and we're going to re-drill. This is going to allow us, by re-drilling on the inside of that hole, we'll put the screw there after where it's manipulated. It'll keep it from sliding back on us. And putting that little bit of wood in there is all that it's going to take. Where's my hole? There it is. Even more aggressive than I thought it was being. Okay. There it is. It's a hell of a lot better than it was. Okay. Alrighty. Too much tension on this hinge here, I think. There it is. Okay. Whew. Last door. Now, actually, before we go any further, let's take a look at this. So just so you know, I'm going to show you the two different kinds of damage, one from the nail, one from the screw. Here's the screw, and depending on your material, this is MDF. MDF really sucks in my opinion because every time you put a hole in it, it does two things. A, it gets a hole, but B, it blows up like a volcano. It's like tectonic plates hitting each other and it makes mountains, right? So look at, like, you have to actually carve the top off. Then you've got to like sand it down. And then, if this is even going to work, I haven't used this gun in weeks. Yeah, let's just make a hole that we can get some goo. We're back to some good caulking, and I'm just going to throw some on my blade. All right. And then that's the preparation to fill that hole. Okay? Nice and simple. Now the nail hole, although it doesn't have a ridge, still needs to be done smooth. Still needs caulking. And now you can see the total extent of that damage. That also means it's going to need to be painted. And the way we paint that is by using a 4-inch mini roller, okay? And it has to be a foam roller, not a microfiber. And foam rollers with just the tiniest amount of paint. We'll show this at the end of the video. You can touch up spaces like this and make them look perfect. So it doesn't matter if it's a little hole or big hole, like from a screw. It's the same solution. A putty knife, some caulking, sanding block, and you're good to go. So those are two applications so you can set yourself up for success. Here's the third. So we've nailed it, we've screwed it, now we're going to clamp it. All right, here we go. We're going to start off the countertop. Okay, we're going to come over here, lift this to the top corner over here, and then we'll clamp again. All right, now we have a positive stop location. And remember I talked about the extra gap from the drawers? That's what we're going to be dealing with. And there's no way to escape it. So let's not worry about it right now. Let's just focus on getting our door marked and installed. And then the next thing we're going to do is install the doorknobs. I'm going to show you my tips and tricks for that. It's a relatively quick procedure. If it's done right, it'll make sure that your work looks like it was done by a pro. There we go, much better. Okay, now, for everybody who wants to know, how do you do your touch-ups on your minor imperfections? Well, here's a classic imperfection. Just a little rub, but it probably got caught on something on the countertop, scratched it around. Let me go get my paint roller and I'll show you. All right, so a lot of you guys don't know the difference between microfiber and foam. This is microfiber. It's very soft, it's smooth, but you can see that it's got a lot of texture. Foam is really, foam. The difference is this leaves a texture on the surface when you paint. This doesn't. So when you're doing cabinetry work, use the foam rollers. And it goes like this. You can actually press down, clean the excess paint out of the roller. More is not your friend here, okay? Gently, to the point where it's barely going on. And just work it and work it and work it until you get the kind of coverage that you're looking for, where it's consistent. That's it, okay? That is a really nice finish. That'll solve all your problems. Gentle. If you have too much paint or you press too hard, like I'm barely holding it against the material. If you press too hard, you're gonna get drips, all right? You don't want drips. You got really nice edges everywhere, right? Let's keep the edges nice and strong and safe. There we go. You can even do touch up in the middle of a door, all right? Do we have anything else? Oh, we have one up here. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Touch-ups, okay? Brilliant. Make sure you have one of these. Now, let's just jump right into the handles. All right, it's a relatively simple system. And the way you keep it simple, so you don't need to spend $600, is you buy knobs, not handles. Handles are trickier. Now, the basics here are really simple, guys. Make sure you don't have to do touch-ups where your handles are going. If you want to take a day, do all your touch-ups, come back and do the knobs the next day, that's fine. Take a little piece of tape. What we're looking for is the intersection from this corner to this corner, halfway through. So basically the middle thickness of this translated down to the middle thickness of this, right? So just throw a piece of tape right where you're going to be going. Then you take your square, and on here it measures the thickness. That's 2 1/8, 2 1/4. So half of that is 1 1/8. That's the same thickness. That makes life simple. We just take our marker. We are 2 1/4. Yeah. 1 1/8. That's my line vertically. And I am 2 1/4. I am 1 1/8 here. It's a little higher than 1 1/8. Yeah, this bottom piece is actually thicker than the side piece. Wow, okay. I was like, visually that didn't make any sense. Now, open up the door, look behind. Okay, make sure that when you drill your hole, you're not gonna drill through your cabinet, all right? That's really the key. And if you can do this, that is the job right there. Okay, now my wife bought these on Amazon. Always make sure the inside of your door, you clean that up, okay? You don't have any extra wood laying around. We're gonna take this screw. This is a special screw. They come in metric as well, the M4s, and these are an 832, okay, Imperial. Okay, so these are designed to be cut off really easily, depending on the thickness of the material and the length of screw you actually need. So we're gonna put in the screw. We're gonna take a look at this. We're gonna count 1, 2, 3 segments, and then I've got 3 or 4 threads. That's perfect. So we're gonna count 1, 2, 3 segments. That's my mark. And I'm gonna take this tool here. It's called a side cutter. Okay, you can see straight on, it cuts on the one side. We're gonna lie that up in that predetermined groove there, okay, and give it a good squeeze. Boom. Perfect every time, okay? You stick that back in, you've got a few threads sticking out. You connect your drill on this over here. Put your handle there. Uh-oh. This particular handle is, the threads are really concave way inside. Okay. So instead of snapping off 3, we're going to snap off 2. All right. Tricky, tricky handle. Most handles have the thread right at the base, but this one doesn't. See, that one goes all the way to there before it grabs. And then we screw. All right. And it should be nice and tight. You don't want to do any damage to the surface, but you don't want to be able to untighten that too easily either. All right, that's good. Good to go. There's my knobs. Okay. Now I'm going to drill all of these holes. Before we go away, let's do the drawers. They're a little trickier. These are unique. So, same concept. We're going to take our tape, our painter's tape, now that we're done painting. Put it in the middle-ish. I mean, most people are adept enough to understand where the middle of something is just by looking at it. But we really want to line this up to be perfect. So when you're walking into the room and you can look across the room and see that everything is lined up, that's a sign of somebody who took their time to measure and be a pro. Ultimately, that's what we want as DIYers, to have our work look like a pro did it. That's where you get money for your dollar here now. Straight edge. Line up all the drawers. They're all a little wiggly and jiggly, okay? But push them all to one side. Drop your laser line on here. All we gotta do is measure the top drawer to find the middle. These are 14.5, which means 7 1/4. There's my mark. Okay, so move my laser right onto that mark. Oh, it's sensitive. There we go. Now, draw that red line. And a round knob installed in this fashion, no matter how imperfect you make it, it's still going to look perfect, okay? All right. Single knobs are much easier to install and give the illusion, if they're round, of lining up, because they don't have a definitive edge to compare to. So they're really handy that way. Now, every single one of these is a 6-inch drawer. We're going to mark down at 3 inches. We have nothing else horizontal in the area to compare to. Just make sure when you're measuring, your face is in front of the number. You're not looking on an angle, because that is how you make mistakes. All right. There's my cap. Make sure you grab a drill bit that's just a little bit wider than the threads of the screw so it passes easily. We're creating compression here, and that's it. We're not trying to grab the wood. And then set that right in the cross, and then drill away. Nice and slow to begin with. Okay, confirm that you come through the other side. Okay, so we're going to put the whole screw in. Now the last one, I only had 3 threads. 3 of those little rings were sticking out, and it just caught, okay? So even though this is recessed, I think I'm going to take this off. It looks a little bit too big in this environment. Okay, let's give that a try. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be perfect. Yeah, see that? I'm going to catch a few turns. Okay. Now we can get the drill in here. A little bit of compression, not too much. All right. There we go. Solid gold. Now, just out of curiosity, if you're wondering, what if in my situation, I need something in between. I can't cut there. I need to cut off a half. Does this still work? The answer is yes. Just got to work a lot harder for it. Okay? Cheers. If you have other experiences or tips that you want to add, jump in the comment section, guys. Feel free. Like, I'm not the master of everything here. I'm just trying to share my life experiences. If you know anybody else who's in the DIY camp, like they inherited an old home or they've got a massive project or they're being ambitious, consider sharing this video with them. We got a lot of information in our videos that might just be able to help them out of their situation as well. Cheers till next time. We'll see you then.